Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk East Stroudsburg University soccer. We'll talk with the women and the men because they got one guy who does it all. It's Rob Berkowitz. And, Rob, you're waving that magic wand as you always do. Busy time of the year, and you're rocking and rolling there at ESU on the campus. Let's first talk on the women's side. What a fantastic season 2015 was. How do you build off of that?
I think just continued momentum that we ended the season with. We kind of were inconsistent in the middle to early part of the season, and we really got a run going at the end. Got into the conference tournament pretty late with a win in our last game. Won 3 games in the conference tournament to repeat as conference champions. Got in the NCAA tournament through the automatic qualification, and then won their first ever regional championship. So we have the majority of the group back. So I think it's just more of kind of building the momentum that we ended last season with.
And a tale of 2 different years. I mean, the year before, you go on a huge streak. You win all those games. But last year, as you said, there's some tough competition. And again, I'm sure we're expecting more of that in the PSAC this year.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough league from top to bottom, 17 teams, and pretty much any team can beat anybody else on a given day. It's a high level of play, some really good players on every team, quality coaching throughout the conference. So, yeah, every game, especially with the 16-game conference schedule, it's difficult to do what we did in 2014 and win 15 in a row and then the conference tournament championship. So last year was a little bit different. It was a pretty veteran group, and we kind of got going at the end, probably a little later, and made it a little bit tougher on ourselves than we had to. But it was just a veteran group. So the emphasis, in the beginning part is just getting off to a good start and building momentum, hopefully into postseason.
I'm sure you're focused, like any coach, on that first game. Let's get that first W. You're going to take on Lock Haven. But looking overall at the schedule, there's some different teams that you have. Who's one or two that kind of stand out and say this is pretty stiff competition?
The most difficult one is going to be the first one with Lock Haven. Changing coaching staff. They return a lot of players that had a good recruiting class come in. So they're going to be difficult. So we're on a road, which we haven't been on a road for our first game in a few years. So that's going to be difficult. But there's really not one. I think if you look at the preseason poll, I think 5 or 6 teams had first place votes. We had the most with 8 first place votes, I believe, and we've picked to finish second. So the parity is evident in the league, and I think if you look at the preseason poll, you can see that. So there's really not one. There's always one team that kind of jumps up and might be picked somewhere from that 7 to 12 range that's competing for a regular season championship. So everybody, I guess, is the answer there.
And Westchester, again, coming in as the 1 in the preseason poll. East Stroudsburg second, followed by Slippery Rock again. And the motivation of the girls, how fired up are they for the season after a couple years of success?
Yeah, they're definitely excited about it. I think, something that we've talked about kind of in preseason. I think a lot of people on the outside are talking about, going for 3 in a row. But that hasn't been our approach. It's a new year. It's a new team. We have, a bunch of new freshmen and transfers that have come in. So it's a new season. So they're excited just to, keep things going, have a good experience playing with each other. So yeah, they're excited. They're ready to go. All
right, let's head over on the men's side, and let's talk about what the Warriors are going to have for 2016.
Yeah, it was a pretty big step forward last year for us. We didn't qualify for postseason like we wanted to, but we were in the mix. Got off to a really good start. I think we were 17th in the country, and then had a couple injuries that really hurt, and then kind of hit a rough patch in the middle, got it going back at the end, but it was a little bit too late. So we have a good core of guys coming back, but we have probably our best class that we've brought in a long time with 3 international guys, 2 Division I transfers, another transfer. So it's a talented group that's come back, and we've really added to the group through our recruiting class.
And obviously, right now it's looking like you're going to be looking up at a lot of teams in the preseason poll, but game by game, you're hoping to make a little way and maybe get a little closer to that middle part and maybe make a run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a little different from the women's side, where we're voted second. The men were picked 11th out of 12, and for coming off the year that we had last year, I know we didn't qualify for postseason, but we were in the mix, and to be picked 11th out of 12, I think that has added some motivation to for the guys, and we're looking to put ourselves in the mix again for postseason, and some of the tight ones that we dropped last year, have those come in our favor and hopefully be playing into November.
Talking with Rob Berkowitz from East Stroudsburg University. He is the men and women's coach. And Rob, overall, on the guys' side, the freshmen that you brought in, you mentioned those international players. Are those guys young as well?
They are. They're true freshmen. We have 3 players that came in from Sweden. And then we have a bunch of talented American freshmen as well. It's just the transition especially on the men's side, a lot of times with the true American freshmen, they're certainly talented players, but a lot of times it's a bit of an adjustment, and I think that's what we ran into a few years ago. We relied pretty heavily on true freshmen to play, and it was an adjustment. Now those guys have some more experience. Our junior and senior class is very good. We had some freshmen some time last year. So I think the mix of what we have coming back with the 2 transfers that played at a good level at the Division I level. So it's, again, a talented returning group, but we've added some pieces that we really feel like are going to put us in a mix of being one of the better teams in the league.
Well, we wish you the very best, Coach. Stay busy with that schedule of yours, and safe travels, okay?
All right. Thank you, John.
All right. Great talking East Stroudsburg University Warriors soccer with Rob Berkowitz on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.